As many of you now know, or are at least starting to learn, photography is more or less the art of capturing light. And when you think about it, every day there are many different kinds of light that we all see. Whether it be light from the sun, lights in your house, the light off your computer or phone, these are all different kinds of light being produced in many, many different ways. The important difference between these various kinds of light for us as photographers is the exposure or brightness, which we've learned all about, and the temperature of light, which is measured in kelvins. You'll learn more about that in the next lesson, but at the most basic level, white balance is telling your camera, or having your camera select automatically, what is true white in your image. Meaning, based off of what kind of light is in your frame, that white wall should look white, or the clouds in the sky should look white. It's the base for how the rest of the colors in your image will look and can get fairly complex when you have multiple kinds of light in one image. Now, most auto white balance systems have gotten extremely accurate, but understanding what your camera is doing when white balancing is important because it can lead to some really cool creative choices. That being said, people that do a lot of post editing on the computer or phone can change the white balance and color tints after they've already taken the photos. Here is what white balance does at the most basic levels. Here's an image with a correct white balance. It looks natural, close to how you would see it in normal life. Here's what happens when that white balance isn't set correctly. Either the image appears too warm or almost orange, or it appears too cool, almost blue in some areas. Auto white balance on most cameras is going to be really good. So we're out here in the daylight and it's set to auto white balance and you can see that it looks pretty natural. All the colors look right. You know, I'm comparing what I see on my screen to what William actually looks like and it looks pretty good. So let's take a picture of this. And you can really see that all the colors look right, they look natural. Auto white balance is really pretty great on most cameras today. But with your white balance settings, you'll be able to make it warmer or cooler, adding your own sort of style to it. Ultimately, white balance affects the colors in your image, and that brings us to our next discussion, which is color. Color is greatly affected by having the correct white balance. This might seem simple, but colors are what can make your photos incredibly dynamic, like a person wearing red in a winter wonderland, or a yellow umbrella in a sea of gray, or having someone wearing camo in a forest, or all white in a snowstorm. All these examples show how powerful color can be for a photographer. Adding a color tint to your photo can also change the feeling or mood. A warm tint with more yellows and oranges can feel happier or more like summertime than a photo that's slightly bluer or cooler. By adjusting your white balance to read the light in different ways, you can give a warm or cool tint to your photo. Next, we will dive a bit deeper into what your camera is actually doing when white balancing, and why kelvins are an incredibly important thing for every photographer to understand.